at the current time, so that in the event that that person does show, we will give them opportunities to speak. So I will then move the agenda forward to the portion of the agenda dealing with a report from our president.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the commission, the HOC team, and the public. I'm pleased to share updates as it pertains to our activities in the month of June. Next slide. At a glance, the highlights include honoring our living legend, the Hillendale Gateway closing. Laureate continues to receive awards. We have a legislative update, updates from our compliance division, as well as our resident services division, housing resource division, real estate, and mortgage finance. Next slide. We are excited to share that after many years and definitely a lot of sweat equity, we have completed the closing of our Hillendale Gateway project. This was a significant Herculean task by our team. Want to acknowledge each and every one of them. Because of this next, this milestone, we will now proceed with our construction efforts, which will deliver over 463 homes, 54% affordable, located in the former public housing site, Holly Hall, off of 495 New Hampshire Avenue near Capitol Gateway. And so we're really excited about this endeavor. Look forward to celebrating a groundbreaking here soon, and want to really just pause and thank the entire team and staff who all contributed to this milestone moment. Also, yes, congratulations, team. Also would like to continue to celebrate the awards that we received for the laureate. We just received the Golden Nugget Award for our art design program, as well as Urban Land Institute has provided us with Jack Kemp Excellence in Affordable and Workforce Housing Award. So we're a finalist in that competition. Next slide. June was also a wonderful month because it was the month in which our own chair was honored with a significant achievement, African American Living Legend Award provided in our county. Now I get to write on my list of accolades that I worked directly for a living legend. And of course, in addition to our living legend providing his leadership as chair of our commission, he has many accolades, many spaces in which he has provided and made an impact. Some highlighted here, Alexandria Redevelopment and Housing Authority, where he was the CEO and executive director, National Congress for Community Economic Development, where he's the president and CEO, served over 17 years in HUD. And this is just the beginning, but wanted to acknowledge and celebrate him. Here we are. Next slide. Also providing legislative updates. We are fortunate to have supported the advancement and ultimately the creation of a new statewide voucher program. We will be receiving the overall appropriation for FY25 is $10 million, and $1.6 million is allocated to our agency by an algorithm determined by the state. This program will mimic the federal Housing Choice Voucher Program and has some various requirements. There is a 5-year cap on this program, so we will have to discuss what and how we would sunset the program, and if there will be an option of potential preference for the individuals who receive these vouchers. There also is a focus on families with children under the age of 18, foster care children, as well as military veterans, individuals experiencing homelessness, disabled, as well as elderly. So the state has mandated those preferences that we must abide by. We also have to ensure that we have a level of assurance around the occupancy of these buildings that individuals would reside in, and so requiring a certificate of occupancy or an inspection certificate, depending on the size of the building in which these vouchers are used. And then there also was a clear guidance in regards to criminal history being limited to sex offenses, violent crimes, or drug-related offenses. So we're working on establishing the MOU and preparing the budget amendment to accept these vouchers and facilitate this program. Next slide. We continue our advocacy both through our individual and agency connections, but as well as through the various groups that we affiliate with to advocate for advancement. FFB and FHA risk share have been areas of focus for us in terms of how the federal government can help support the creation of affordable housing. We just spotlighting here that Treasury Secretary Yellen announced last month that HUD and Treasury are working together on creating additional improvements to the FFB risk share program that we believe would be beneficial to HOC and other HFAs. We are the largest user of FFB risk share. So this is definitely an important effort. Additionally, reporting out in regards to the work that's underway, a new initiative advanced by the Planning Board for Attainable Housing Solutions that will go before the council. The council is reviewing the proposal, and it has to do with various modifications in regards to potentially converting single detached homes into duplexes and triplexes, et cetera. And we'll continue to report out on these efforts and what, if any, impact it would have on our portfolio. And FY25 appropriation process is underway. Just reporting out that the Congressional Subcommittee on Transportation and Housing and Urban Development did put out their proposed budget that includes full support for existing vouchers and PBRA contracts. So in that space, we're feeling confident. However, as we all know, that there are many iterations of budgeting that take place. We'll continue to provide updates along the way. Next slide. We anticipated some potential shifts in dates as it pertains to the rollout of the various federal regulations that HUD is imposing on housing authorities. And we have reshifted a timeline based on some updated dates provided by HUD. HOTMA currently is on track, but most recently we learned that HUD is also considering potentially postponing the HOTMA deadlines. But as you can see here, if it remains on track, we will be slated to present to the commission in December with a January 2025 start for HOTMA. Inspire, which was previously to be implemented by October of 2024, has now shifted to October 2025. That is the latest date. We will come back to the commission in regards to, we won't wait until the latest date. We will come back to the commission with a more detailed outline on how we plan to leverage this additional time to communicate out more, to bolster our training, and to prepare ourselves appropriately. And as you can see, as it pertains to HIP, which was the information portal, HUD has now rescinded their PIH notice until further notice. And therefore, the transition from PIC to HIP has been delayed. And we will continue to provide updates along the way. Next slide. I'll now begin to highlight some of our activities. We had multiple end of the school year celebrations for our children, as well as Father's Day celebrations that were held across the portfolio. Next slide. We also are continuing to work with the county in regards to Chromebook computer distributions. And as you can see, we've highlighted the properties where this took place in the month of June. And we continue to promote health and wellness through various partnerships. And you will see highlighted here the various dates in which we provided health and wellness activities for our residents. Next slide. Always thanking our partners, especially around food insecurity. You see them highlighted here. We continue to also facilitate the senior nutrition program. Next slide. And our service coordination and community engagement team, our housing stabilization team, really works hard to ensure that our residents have access to resources across the county. And we've identified that we helped 26 customers here in the month of June, and our permanent supportive housing team provided support for 345 participants. Our rent supplement program, the shallow subsidy program, served 284. Next slide. We have young musicians that are learning piano and enjoying themselves at Tanglewood Apartments. And we had multiple STEM enrichment activities at both Magruder and Georgian Court. Next slide. Our career advancement programs continue, and you can see highlighted here that we provide those resources to those who are interested in entrepreneurship. We also continue to recruit for individuals to join our fatherhood initiative. I want to just spotlight that in particular. It's an area where we really do want to continue to enhance our enrollment, and is an area where we've received extended grants. So want to really spotlight that, especially since last month was Father's Day. Next slide. We also had a wonderful celebration for our students who received scholarships. There were 5 rock stars who received $5,000 scholarships to assist with their education. You see in this photo, there's 4. There was one who was absent, but we definitely are proud of our students and we're able to celebrate them. And I will also acknowledge and thank that our nonprofit partner, HOCP, who supports this, they're the funder for this scholarship. So we were there to support and celebrate the students. Next slide. In regards to our voucher program, 47 families were issued vouchers. They're searching. We have 139 contracts pending, and 150 families were selected from the wait list in June. Next slide. We continue to report out in regards to the utilization of our online platform, as well as highlight the fact that while we recommend individuals for termination, in this case, in the month of June, there were 77, only 26 are moving forward because of the great work of our staff in trying to support those families, maintain their status in our programs. We will continue to work with the other families until we can no longer do so. But definitely our team is working closely to make sure our families remain housed. Next slide. We also had the great pleasure of celebrating multiple residents and customers who completed the Family Self-Sufficiency Program, and celebrated them along with the chair present, as you can tell. And we currently have 336 participants. We're working on recruiting more families and individuals, to join FSS, and I have recently established a new partnership with the Latino Economic Development group so that we can conduct workshops and try to bring in even more fathers into this program. Next slide. This just provides additional information related to Hillendale Gateway, really focusing in on the environmental features that we're all excited about, and highlighting the fact that this will be a passive house, and we're planning on achieving zero net energy capacity in our age-restricted building. This was a big financing undertaking, over $292 million in the form of both public and private debt. I think I can say with confidence that there are no other projects of this magnitude that have closed in this last year for certain, and or in the near horizon. So again, a great feat, which also included closing on the issuance of bonds to support this initiative. And next slide. Also, we did issue our single family bond issuance. So thank you again for the support of the commission in advancing that. We just wanted to provide context in terms of the overall program. 138.4 million in loans have been provided through this program. As we know, housing home ownership is becoming even more and more unaffordable. And through this program, we have been able to help over 11,000 Montgomery County residents purchase homes. So we're really proud about that. And with that, I will, next slide, close and open for any comments and or questions.
Just a couple of comments. One, this is a historical perspective related to the state's new program on the housing choice voucher. The original design of the Section 8 program, which was a project-based assistance, was 5 years. And of course, as it subsequently changed, if you well know, what's interesting that the state's program starts out mimicking what was originally designed for the Section 8 program, that 5-year period. How many vouchers will we be able to issue under the state's program?
I believe the total is 97. Thank you.
97? Okay. Are there any other questions? Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just also add my congratulations to staff on closing on Hillendale, and just to also, talk about, not only the environmental benefits of of it being a very climate friendly development, but also, that a number of the units are going to be affordable to extremely low income residents, and that's a big deal. That's where the biggest gap is in terms of affordability and availability of units to that income group. And so, I really applaud the creativity of the staff in working to make sure that we were able to include those units. Just on a separate note, a question, we always get the updates on the number of customers who are submitting their paperwork electronically through Rent Cafe. And I was just curious, do we have benchmarks that we're trying to achieve on that? And,
right. We have not set a hard benchmark. We're just encouraging our families to take advantage of it. If a resident prefers to use paper, we allow them to bring their paperwork in. We haven't set a deadline in which you must transition only to the portal, but we are strongly encouraging it and just trying to report out that it's still being utilized. And we do believe over time there'll be additional comfort there, but we still have seniors and others who prefer paper. So we do not want to suggest that we have to get to 100% online utilization.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I was just curious. Are we communicating the benefits of submitting electronically?
Absolutely. And in fact, in addition to the benefits of using the online portal, we're also providing the one-on-one support for someone over the phone if they're needing to go through the online portal. And then, of course, in addition to using the portal for our voucher program, we're also rolling out Rent Cafe across our portfolio in terms of our properties. So people are paying online now for their rent, as well as getting notices and information that way as well. And that will also be the avenue in which we begin our customer surveys, which will provide additional information on in the very near future.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Just one other observation. It's interesting that the HOCMA and the Inspire deadlines go beyond our next election in November. And in the event that there was a change in administration, you could expect to probably see some other changes that will occur in those two programs. But I found it very interesting. Normally, what an administration tries to do is to close those kind of things out before the election comes forward. So that's really kind of interesting to me to note that. And just, I have to say thank you for having received the Living Legend Award. It just shows you if you live long enough, somebody will remember you. But I just want to thank you. And I've been very fortunate, I feel, to have had the opportunity to have served on the HOC commission as I've sort of really transitioned from retirement to just living a normal, voluntary life of these kinds of endeavors and what I do at my time. But I want to thank the commission and thank the county executive for this nomination and award. So appreciate it very much. With that, No other questions? I will move the agenda to the Commissioners' Exchange. Is there anything that the Commissioners want to exchange one to the other? Seeing none, I will move forward to the agenda on the approval of minutes, the approval of the minutes for our June 5th meeting, and also the approval of the special session on June 20th. Can I get a motion to approve these minutes?
So moved.
Probably moved
I'll second.
and seconded. Do we approve the minutes of the June 5th meeting and also the June 20th special session? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. So ordered. We will now go to our committee reports and recommendations. The first committee report is coming from our CF&A committee, and that's chaired by Fran Kelleher. Fran, are you there?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes. Great. I had to get off mute. Thank you. The Administrative and Regulatory Committee met, and we had the opportunity to go over this report that the staff has developed based on their internal CMAP survey. And CMAP looks at the compliance with HUD regulations related largely to Section 8 programs. And we have slipped slightly from last year, but we are hoping that in the bigger picture, HUD sees the quality of work that we have done, and would like to turn it over to our president, Chelsea, to introduce the survey results.
Thank you. Yes, we did go through this in detail with the ARC committee, allowing an opportunity for questions in regards to areas in which we have seen a shift from last year. There are two areas that declined from last year. We want to highlight those areas, and just overall, our goal is always to remain a high performer. We take that designation seriously. We, as other housing authorities, go through a self-assessment, and in our own self-assessment, try to be as objective as possible. I will say that on many occasions, including most recently, HUD will even provide a higher score. And our hope is that with HUD's review, that they will find that we meet the high performer status. I will turn over to our Vice President of Compliance, Darcel Cox, to walk you through this presentation.
Good afternoon. For the record, my name is Darcel Cox, Vice President of Compliance. And today I come before you to present the outcome of the Housing Opportunities Commission Fiscal Year 2024 Section 8 Management Assessment Program, also known as CMAP. CMAP is designed to measure the public housing authority's performance in key areas as it relates to the Housing Choice Voucher Program. There are 14 key indicators. Housing authorities self-evaluate the CMAP rating, and subsequently HUD issues an assessment of the PHA's performance. Based upon HOC's internal self-assessment evaluation, and after taking a conservative approach, HOC received the maximum allowable points for all indicators with the exception of reasonable rent, adjusted income, housing quality standards enforcement, and family self-sufficiency. I provided a comprehensive overview during the last ARC meeting, and today I will focus on the areas where we experienced a decline in points. The first area is adjusted income. HOC scored 15 out of 20 points. During fiscal year 23, HOC received the maximum point value of 20. This indicator measures if the customer's rent contribution is calculated correctly based upon their income. HOC's quality control pass rate is 83%. Factors attributed to the outcomes are due to human error. In order to receive the maximum point value of 20, the pass rate must be 20% or above. The second area of focus is the area of family self-sufficiency. HOC scored 8 out of 10 for fiscal year 23. HOC scored the maximum possible points of 10. HOC's maximum allowable participation is 441 participants in this program. HOC is required to maintain 80% of participation. This equates to 353 participants. HOC's participation rate decreased from 81.4% to 74.6%, which is the cause for the deduction in points. Factors attributed to this outcome are HOC had more families exit the program due to graduation and voluntary exits this year in comparison to last year. HOC self-evaluation performance rating decreased from a high performer at 93% to a standard performer of 88%. In order to receive a rating as a high performer, HOC would have to score 90% or better. I would like to note, as in a previous year, when HOC's compliance team rated HOC as a standard performer, HUD reversed the decision and rated HOC as a high performer. Therefore, ultimately, HUD makes the final determination in the overall rating. In addition, the scoring for the FSS indicator is based on current circumstances. This means that when we, compliance, compiled the data for this report, the participation rate had decreased from just the month prior. We anticipate and hope that when HUD reviews this report and completes their own assessment, the participation rate could increase by that time, and HOC may receive the additional 2 points to place us back as a high performer. Both the Housing Resources Division and Compliance will continue to perform quality control reviews throughout the year and will meet following the completion of the reviews to discuss systematic findings and staff training needs. I would like to also note that the compliance team will modify its review process starting with the fiscal year 25 quality control reviews. We currently review the entire file and report the overall review as a pass or fail. While we in compliance will continue to review and report on all discrepancies, we will highlight the CMAP indicators separately. The goal is to address CMAP discrepancy well in advance of the next reporting cycle. I'll pause here for any questions.
I appreciate that we take a conservative approach. I'm curious, I mean, has HUD ever lowered our score? No.
Not since I've been here. They've only increased it.
Right. Okay. Well, that's encouraging. I'm curious. I mean, you mentioned that there might be a higher family self-sufficiency enrollment by the time that over the period that HUD reviews. I'm just curious, will they be reviewing the same period for our adjusted income?
Right. The adjusted income is going to be based on the previous period, but FSS is based on current circumstances. That's the only indicator that's based on current circumstances.
So there's a little bit of luck of timing with that one. Okay. Okay. No, thank you.
I would just like to add one comment. I appreciate the work that staff puts into these surveys. They're a lot of time, and it takes somebody with a lot of experience and expertise to do them. And so I very much appreciate that. I think they're also really, really important to give us kind of a big picture look at what's going on and know where to focus some of our continuous operation improvement efforts. I would like to suggest that we also look at item number 5 during this coming year, the HQS quality control for the inspections. I know that we switched contractors when we weren't happy with the work that was being done. And so it's a little disappointing to still see that score. I know it's also a very rigorous one to get any points for. So I'm hoping that with our new contractor having been in place for a while, that we will see movement on that score over this coming year, because I think that's a really important place for our residents to make sure that we're performing in a high way. So I'll just point that out as my observation. But if there are no other questions, I would move that we accept the staff's survey report and that we forward it for review by HUD.
So moved.
Probably moving a second, do we advance the CMAP reporting to HUD? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Nay, so ordered. Before we move to the next item, I want to make one comment about the family self-sufficiency. You know, I saw the report before I went to the graduation. And when you look at the fact that we had 25 graduates from the program, it even puts more of a challenge you have to build up to that level that HUD wants you to be at to do it. And I don't know the extent to which we use past graduates to advance the program, but certainly the enthusiasm of graduates would certainly be a great marketing way to advance future participation in the program. I mean, even having them come to classes or promotional things you do to entice people. I don't know anyone wouldn't want to be a part of family self-sufficiency, really. It's just a great program. So got your work cut out for you, but I think it can be achieved. So thank you all for the effort's been done. I also want to applaud the staff for the integrity of your self-reporting, because it's 2 points away from a high performer, I would have been digging real deep, real deep. So thank you for that. If that's no further, let's move forward with the agenda to our Development Finance Committee, headed by Commissioner Merkowitz.
Thank you. The first item that we reviewed and that's on our agenda today has to do with a contract to build a retaining wall at Forest Oak Towers, and I will turn it over to President Andrews.
Thank you. This matter came before Development and Finance Committee. We were able to provide an overview in regards to the need to develop this or repair a retaining wall at Forest Oak Towers. I'm going to turn it over to Kimberly King, the project manager who's leading this project, to provide more details.
Thank you, President Andrews. Good afternoon, members of the commission, staff, and viewing public. For the record, my name is Kim King, a construction project manager with the HOC's real estate development team. I'm requesting your approval to select and execute a contract with Atlantida Builders, Inc. as the contractor for the Forest Oak Towers retaining wall project and pursuant to proposal number 2458. Forest Oak Towers is located at 101 Odenthal Avenue in Gaithersburg, Maryland. It's a 175-unit, 10-story high-rise senior community. There are several issues related to the existing retaining wall, the most significant of which would be the parking lot. It currently does not have a proper drainage system in place, causing it to have water retention and erosion. The HOC staff engaged civil engineering firms and developed the scope of work. And also they provided us with civil drawings. In general, the scope of work would consist of the installation of the new cornerstone segmental retaining wall, stormwater utilities, and stormwater retention facilities. Staff recommends, with the support of the Development and Finance Committee, the selection of Atlantida Builders, Inc. for the completion of the Forest Oak retaining wall project. We also would like to authorize for the president, executive director to negotiate and execute a contract in the amount of $499,450 for the project. Staff will further recommend the approval of a total project budget of $574,367.50, which includes an HOC held contingency of $74,917.50. Next slide, please. Thank you. So the scope of work for this project, it will include, but it's not limited to, demolishing the existing retaining wall, tree clearing, adding sediment control, excavation, installing drainage pipe inlets, stormwater drains, material testing, and inspection. We're also going to be replacing concrete curbs, and we're going to replace any work affected areas as far as the asphalt and concrete goes that are adjacent to the retainage wall. And then we're going to install a new cornerstone segmented retaining wall system. Some of the work will require the contractors or the subcontractors to pull permits. Below it just gives you some insight on the job site and some of the affected areas. Next slide, please. Thank you. Selection criteria. So in accordance with HOC's procurement policy, HOC's procurement office, we issued an RFP number 2458 for the Forest Oak Retaining Wall project on March 6th of 2024, with responses due by April 15th of 2024. We held a mandatory job site walk, and that was held on March 13th of 2024. We also held a pre-proposal conference, and that was held on March 15th of 24. The proposals were scored on the following 5 evaluation criterias with the maximum points a proposal could receive, which would be 100. So our 5 qualifiers are listed here below: qualifications and capabilities, their current and past performance, pricing, and their proposed subcontractors plan. Also, their MFD participation. Next slide, please. So the minimum qualifications for a contractor to be considered qualified, responsible, and a responsive bidder would be a minimum of 5 years of experience with completing work very similar to the scope of work in the RFP and the same size and scale. The contractor must be licensed to conduct business in the state of Maryland and the type of business on the scope of work within the state of Maryland. They're going to have to be able to have insurance coverage that meets or exceeds the requirement coverage agreements and within HOC. And also they have to agree to add HOC as an additionally insured. They also have to provide a payment performance bonding capacity to cover 100% of the contract value. HOC received 2 responses on RFP 2458 by the proposal deadline. We reviewed the staff's the proposal and determined that both firms actually met the minimum qualifications. The staff reviewed the qualified bids to make sure and to make a recommendation of the contractor for the Forest Oak retaining wall. And based on the lowest qualified, responsive bidder, we went with Atlantilda. The 2 firms that presented proposals to us was Atlantida Inc. and Prisma Contracting. Staff is requesting that the commission authorize the president executive director to negotiate and execute a contract with Atlantida Builders for $499,450 for the Forest Oak retaining wall project pursuant to the scope of work in RFP 2458. Atlantilda submitted the lowest qualified bid, and they are a minority business enterprise. We also are requesting the approval of a project budget to include $499,450, which is the base contract with Atlantida, plus the HOC 15% contingency for any required permits or project costs for a total budget of $574,367.50. The funding source for the Forest Oak Towers retaining wall project will come from 2 sources. $291,000 of the project will be funded by replacement reserves. This was budgeted in CY 2023 and will be rolled over into CY 2024 via a budget amendment. The balance of $283,367.50 will be funded from the Forest Oaks excess operating cash. Next slide, please. So in summary, does the commission wish to accept the staff's recommendation, which is supported by the Development and Finance Committee, to approve the selection of Atlantida Builders as the contractor for Forest Oak retaining wall project for the RFP number 2455? Also, we're asking to authorize the president executive director to negotiate and execute a contract with Atlantida Builders for $499,450. Approve the project budget to include the $499,450 contract with Atlantida plus the HOC held 15% contingency in the amount of $74,917.50, making it a total project budget of $574,367.50. Budget impact would be, there is no budget impact on the commission's adopted FY25 operating budget and the physical impact. The full cost of the project will be funded from Forest Oak Towers replacement reserves and excess property cash. So our staff recommendation would be to approve the selection of Atlantida Builders, Inc. as the contractor for Forest Oak retaining wall project pursuant to RFP 2458, authorize the president and executive director to execute a contract with Atlantilda Builders for $499,450. Approve the budget to include the $499,450 contract, which is the base contract for Atlantilda. The HOC held 15% contingency, making it a total project budget of $574,367.50.
Are there any questions from the commission?
I have a question. Commissioner Croom, I just wanted to know, have Atlantida did any building for HOC before?
They
Was-
have
would
not.
They have?
They have not.
They have not. And I'm trying to figure out where is Forest Oak? It looked familiar.
It's-
What area?
It's across from the old Lake Forest Mall.
Lake
It's a
Forest.
high rise.
I know now.
Yeah,
Okay. Thank you.
thank you.
Are there any other questions? If not, I will make a motion that to approve resolution number 24-55.
I move it. I second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is,
Gotta get the-
Oh. Were the remote commissioners in agreement? Yeah, we did.
Yes.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
The
It's hard
motion
to
is-
get off mute fast enough.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Thank you.
The next item on our agenda is the addition of a real estate financing consultant to our development and finance consultant pool. President Andrews.
Yes, commissioners, this matter comes before you in with the goal of expanding our current development and financing consulting pool to include another finance consulting expert. As you can tell, with our very robust portfolio, we need various expertise to support our endeavors. I am going to turn it over to Walker Taylor, the financial analyst that worked on this matter, to provide the update.
Thank you, President Andrews. Good evening, commissioners. For the record, Walker Taylor, financial analyst. We are seeking approval to add real estate financing consultants under the existing development and finance consultant pool pursuant to RFQ 2386-1. So on June 16th, 2023, HOC issued RFQ 2386 for real estate development and or financing consultant services and received 23 responses. And on November 15th, 2023, the commission approved recreating a pool of professionals consisting of 22 firms. On May 15th, 2024, HOC issued RFQ 2386-1, which is a reissuance of RFQ 2386. This reissuance was due to the fact that the existing pool under RFQ 2386 contains 20 development-specific consultants and only 2 finance-specific consultants. As HOC's transactions become larger and more complex, in order to bolster the assistance needed in accessing the financing services and the structuring for HOC's real estate development projects, RFQ 2386-1 was issued. It should be noted that RFQ 2386-1 only solicited firms for the financing activities mentioned. Next slide, please. Consultants will compete to be engaged on an as-needed basis and funded from respective real estate development budgets. Staff recommends that the commission approve the sole respondent, Meridian Investments, to be added to the existing pool of consultants to provide financing services to the commission. Next slide. So Meridian was in the pool previously established under RFQ 2125, and Meridian has procured capital for 2 HOC acquisitions, Battery Boulevard and Bradley Crossing. In these acquisitions, Meridian closed $129 million worth of financing for HOC provided by Eagle Bank in 2021 and 2022. Next slide. So the minimum qualifications as well as the evaluation criteria following on the next slide have not changed from RFQ 2386, and Meridian meets the minimum qualifications. Next slide. Go ahead to the end if you want. Next slide. All right, that's it. Is there any questions?
One question I had, Meridian, had been a member of our prior pool, correct? Do we know why they didn't apply, in the first round, or why they dropped out and then came back?
They just said they didn't see the solicitation when it initially came out.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess, I don't know, I don't know if when we're reissuing these for the pools, if we're notifying all the current members that we're reopening it, and yeah, and they just overlooked it or something. Okay. All right. Well, good to have them back. Are there any other questions? If not, I will make a motion to approve resolution number 24-56.
I second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve resolution 24-56. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. So ordered. Next item.
Thank you. The next item on our agenda has to do with a number of issues related to our Metro Point property, including selection of an architect and approval of a redevelopment budget.
Yes, commissioners, pleased to present this item before you as we continue to advance next steps with Metro Point. This is a property located in Wheaton, right over the metro there. And we are seeking support to move forward with contracting with architect services who could provide us with a scope of work to determine how we would move forward with renovations of this site. The site is in need of renovations, both interior and exterior, that we believe will help enhance the marketability of the site as well as address some structural components. I will turn it over to Alex Lawrence with the real estate team to provide this presentation.
Thank you, President Andrews. Good evening, Commissioners. For the record, my name is Alex Loren, Housing Acquisition Manager. I'm here today to ask Commission for approval of the following items: the authorization to select Zavos Architecture and Design to provide architectural services for the renovation of Metro Point, authorization for the President to negotiate and execute a contract with the selected architect, and the approval of a fiscal year 2025 pre-development budget in the amount of $1,399,440, and the approval of the funding of said budget with loans from OHRF to the limited partnership and DevCorp ownership entities. So Metro Point is 173 units in Wheaton, Maryland, built above the Wheaton Metro Kiss and Ride, and consists of 120 market rate units, 53 affordable units. Of the 53 affordable units, 35 are reserved for families with incomes at or below 50% AMI, and 18 are reserved for families at 30% AMI. It's owned in 2 condominiums, with Wheaton Metro LP owning the 53 affordable units, which was originally funded with LIHTC equity, and the 120 unrestricted units owned by Wheaton Metro Development Corp. It was delivered in 2008 during the global financial crisis and has struggled to maintain positive cash flow since, with HOC supporting the property by funding its operating shortfalls. A major focus of the prospective resyndication and renovation will be eliminating these annual shortfalls and putting Metro Point onto a better financial path by reducing debt obligations through recapitalization, reducing operating expenses through energy efficiency initiatives, and increasing rental revenue through upgrades. So the scope of the renovation will primarily focus on these interior and exterior upgrades as identified to enhance the asset's marketability, reinforcement of structural components, and reinvestment in building systems. Next slide, please. So more recently, the initial 15-year compliance period elapsed in 2023. In July of last year, HOC received a proposal from Wells Fargo to sell its interest in the Wheaton Metro LP ownership, which was approved by the Commission, and that closing occurred at the end of June of this year. Next slide, please. So the property is currently managed by Bozito Management and is 96.5% occupied, with 100% of the affordable units occupied, and the average market rate rental rate of $2.11 per square foot. The property amenities and neighborhood amenities are identified on slide 5, and the current unit mix is identified on slide 6. If we can move to slide 7, please. So when comparing comparing MetroPoint to comparables within the immediate market, MetroPoint has dated finishes, carpet flooring, plastic laminate countertops, and fluorescent lighting, whereas more recent deliveries include LVT or hardwood flooring, quartz countertops, and LED lighting that makes the buildings more modern and energy efficient. Then move to slide 8, please. So with that in mind, the targeted scope of work will be to update and upgrade the units, amenities, and exteriors, as well as replace the roof and mechanical systems, perform structural investigations, and the improvement of sustainability and energy efficiency. So in April of 2024, HOC staff issued a task order for architectural services for the renovation scope to a short list of firms selected from the pool of architects approved by the commission in November of 2023. 4 of the 8 firms solicited submitted a proposal. Those proposals were scored on 5 criteria, which are identified on slide 9 here, including qualifications, experience, price, schedule, and MFD participation. You'll see a summary of the respondents on slide 10. And then slide 11. So after review of the proposals, a scoring team scored Zavos the highest based on their demonstrated portfolio of projects of a similar scope and size with high sustainability standards and tenant relocations, their experience with LIHTC finance projects, and their proposed fee. Next slide, please. So to commence pre-planning and concept design through construction documents, staff is also requesting a pre-development budget of $1,399,440 to be funded with loans from OHRF. This will allow for the progression of design, engineering, and engineering investigative studies and the preparation of a LIHTC application on behalf of the limited partnership prior to fiscal year 2025 year end. Sequence of action items that we anticipate bringing to commission as the project progresses are identified on slide 13. With the next relevant step being the presentation of the preliminary development plan in September, which will include some initial financial projections as well. Next slide, please. So in conclusion, we're recommending the commission approve the authorization to select Zavos for architectural services, authorization for president to negotiate and execute a contract with the selected architect, and the approval of a pre-development budget in the amount of $1,399,440, of which $419,832 is attributable to the Wheaton Metro LP for fiscal year 2025 to be funded via the OHRF. I welcome any comments or questions at this time.
Just I don't know, not so much a question, but just to acknowledge some of the discussion that we had during the committee meeting, and also to confirm. So we would typically get a pro forma budget during the September presentation, right, on the preliminary development plan, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And so, yeah, and just to acknowledge that, there were questions raised at the committee level about the appropriate timing and level of detail of that pro forma. In general, this is the way we have typically done things. It never hurts to, check in to see if that still works for all commissioners. And so just to acknowledge that we will have that discussion, but no real question at this time. Are there any other questions or comments from the commission? If not, I will make a motion to approve resolution 24-57.
Second. It's been properly moved and seconded to approve resolution 24-57. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, I see. Robin's got his hand up.
Mhm.
Okay, so moved.
Fran nodded. So.
Next
Aye.
item.
Thank you.
Great, thanks. The next item on our agenda is the approval or a question around replacing boilers at the Metropolitan, as well as the approval also of an updated pre-development budget.
Yes. Thank you, commissioners. As a reminder, this is one of our hallmark properties, one of our original hallmark properties located in Bethesda. We do believe that it is time to refresh this property so that we can ensure that we're maximizing the marketability of this property. And there are some capital needs, including the need to move forward with purchasing boilers so that we're best situated before the winter season is upon us. I will turn it over to the real estate team, Gil, to provide this presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, President Andrews. Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Gio Cavaladze, Real Estate Division. As President Andrews mentioned, this is a property in downtown Bethesda that is in need of renovation, which we are planning to start next winter. Currently, we are in the process of preparing for a re-syndication transaction for affordable units, and renovation is projected to start early next year. There are 308 units at the property. Approximately 30% of them are tax credit affordable units. And as President Andrews also mentioned, the boiler replacement is an urgent issue. The boilers are, most of them are out of order and cannot wait. Although boiler replacement is included in the scope of the renovation, the property cannot afford to wait for next winter to replace them. So we are proposing to bring this forward and have our selected general contractor, Southway Builders, do the work early. So our request today is for the commission to authorize the executive director and staff to negotiate and execute an early start agreement with the Southway Builders to replace the boilers and to fund the replacement in the amount of approximately $900,000. This would include replacement of all 6 boilers at the property. And in addition to this, we are requesting some additional pre-development funding to close the transaction in December. And the total request of funding request is $2.1 million. And we're requesting funding from HOC's OHRF fund. And if approved, this request would bring the total approved pre-development budget to approximately just over $3 million. There is no budget impact from this request, as the funding is would be funded for would be funded from OHRF. Are there any questions?
Are there any questions from the commission?
Yes, I have a question. I was just looking here on this money that you're asking for. It's gonna cover the boilers, right? The 6 boilers that you said, right? But
Part
is
of
it
it.
also gonna cover the lobby and the common areas, or no?
No, that will be included. We will come back to the commission in
that.
September, October with a final development plan that would
Okay.
include and outline the renovation budget.
Right now, it's the 6 boilers, right? That you need.
I'm
You
sorry,
need approval for the 6 boilers that you need the money
six
for.
boilers currently.
Yes. Okay, got it.
Are there any other questions? Okay. If not, I will make a motion to approve resolution number 24-58.
So,
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve resolution 24-58. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. So ordered. Next item.
The final item that the Development and Finance Committee reviewed and that is on our agenda today has to do with Heritage Emery Grove and a request to transfer some of our project-based real estate assistance housing vouchers.
Yes, commissioners, this is the Heritage Emery Grove development where we have a portion of that development is our property, Camp Hill Square. We would like to, and there's a pretty lengthy process with HUD to go through transferring our project-based rental assistance contract, but we'd like to transfer that contract to Washington Square, as well as discontinue the leasing activities as we prepare for demolition and ultimately redevelopment at this site. I will turn it over to Jay Shepard and our real estate team, supported by Ellen Goff, to provide this recommendation.
Thank you, President Andrews, and good afternoon, Commissioners. Nice to see you. Thank you for being here. For the record, I am Jay Shepard, Housing Acquisition Manager, and again, joined here with me today is Ellen Goff, our Real Estate Operations Manager. As President Andrews mentioned, we are seeking Commission authorization to submit this request to transfer Camp Hill Square project-based rental assistance payment contract. It's a HAP contract to the RAD 6 Development Corporation, Washington Square's property, and discontinue leasing activities at Camp Hill Square. Camp Hill Square is one part of HOC's owned assets at the Heritage Emery Grove redevelopment. And as part of that redevelopment, we expect the timing to obtain site plan approval and therefore full vacancy of Camp Hill Square at approximately 24 months. So in order to preserve the 10 units of affordable housing currently at Camp Hill Square, staff needs to submit this request to HUD to transfer the PBRA HAP contract accordingly. Washington Square is less than 1/2 mile from Camp Hill Square, and it's located just across Mid-County Highway. This would allow Camp Hill Square residents currently under the HAP contract to relocate to a nearby property and in the same general area, and to keep residents within the same community to maintain schools, daycare, employment, etc. Staff are hereby therefore asking for, number one, authorize the president and executive director to submit a request to transfer the HAP contract to the RAD 6 Development Corporation, Washington Square property. And then secondly, to discontinue leasing activities at Camp Hill Square to prepare for the ultimate vacancy of the property. Ellen also will add to, there was questions that were raised in our Development and Finance Committee, and I'll turn it over to her just to address those. Regarding the vacancy.
Oh, so there's a question about the vacancy for the 10 HAP units. 2 are in a building that sustained a fire, so those are vacant already. We had already relocated those tenants a while ago. So of the 8 subsidies, there are 5 residents that are currently receiving subsidy. 3, I haven't checked with the tenants, but 3 are no longer on the program, either because their income increased or they were terminated from the subsidy for failure to recertify, or another reason. We have to work to see that, but there are currently 5 getting HAP and 8 not.
So just to be clear, the 2 that were relocated, the 2 tenant or 2 sets of tenants that were relocated due to the fire, are they still receiving a voucher or a subsidy?
So they would have been, unless they had been terminated. I would have to see, but we relocated. They may have been 2 that were relocated to other units within the property. I know that we made sure that anybody that had subsidy maintained that subsidy.
Right.
Nobody lost subsidy as a result of the fire.
Great. I appreciate that follow-up, and obviously important for us to utilize all those vouchers, and making this transfer will facilitate that and accelerate it. Are there any questions from the commission? If not, I will make a motion that we approve resolution 24-59.
So moved.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve resolution 24-59. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposers,
Aye.
nay. So ordered.
Terrific.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There is no other formal items coming from a committee reports. Therefore, can I get a motion to recess the meeting in order to convene the Development Corporation meetings?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 The development corporations are entities that are wholly controlled by HOC and own various properties. For each development corporation, the board of directors is comprised of the HOC commissioners, and the officers are the same as the officers of the commission. Each development corporation held its annual meeting on June the 5th, 2024, and the meeting convened today are for the purpose of approving the minutes of those meetings. Additionally, a few development corporations are being presented with requests for other actions related to their properties. I now call the meeting of the Alexandria Housing Development Corporation to order. Is there a second to approve the minutes from June 5th, 2024?
So moved.
Second,
I second.
all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 With no further business to come before the corporation, this meeting is adjourned. I now call the meeting of the Barclay Apartment Development Corporation to order. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from June 5th, 2024?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion carried. With no further business to come before the corporation, this meeting is adjourned. I now call the meeting of the Brook Street Glen Apartment Development Corporation to order. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of June the 5th, 2024?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. With no further business to come before the corporation, this meeting is adjourned. I now call the meeting of the Diamond Square Development Corporation to order. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of June 5th, 2024?
So moved.
I second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, so ordered. With no further business to come before the corporation, this meeting is adjourned. I now call the meeting of the Glenmont Crossing Development Corporation to order. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from June 5th, 2024?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. So ordered. With no further business to come before the corporation, this meeting is adjourned. I now call the meeting of the Glenmont Westerly Development Corporation to order. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from June 5th, 2024?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. So ordered. With no further business to come before the corporation, this meeting is adjourned. I now call the meeting of the Magruder Discovery Development Corporation to order. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from June 5th, 2024?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. So ordered. With no further business to come before the corporation, this meeting is adjourned. I now call the meeting of the Metropolitan Development Corporation to order. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from June 5th, 2024?
So moved.
Second.
Properly, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, so ordered. You have a request concerning an early start engagement agreement for renovation of the property. I turn the presentation to the staff. This the one is already just presented.
Yes, Commissioners, this was presented previously. Our request is to move forward with an early start, allowing us to purchase and move forward with replacing 6 boilers. The request is for up to $2.1 million to be funded by the OHRF.
This matter was previously approved by the commission.
Right. Now it's so we're approving it at
We're
the
approving it as a part of the Development Corporation.
So
Yes.
I would make a motion that we approve the
And I would second.
resolution number 24-002 ME.
Yeah.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Thank you.
Motion is carried. With no further business to come before the corporation, this meeting is adjourned. I now call the meeting of the Montgomery Arms Development Corporation to order. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of June 5th, 2024?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. So ordered. With no further business to come before the corporation, this meeting is adjourned. I now call the meeting of the Oaks at Four Corners Development Corporation to order. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from June 5th, 2024?
So moved.
Second.
Probably moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed,
Aye.
nay. So ordered. With no further business to come before the corporation, this meeting is adjourned. I now call the meeting of the Paddington Square Development Corporation to order. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from June 5th, 2024?
So moved.
Second.
Probably moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed,
Aye.
nay. So ordered. With no further business to come before the corporation, this meeting is adjourned. I now call the meeting of the Poops Hill Development Corporation to order. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from June 5th, 2024?
Second.
So moved.
Probably moved and seconded. Is there, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed,
Aye.
nay. So ordered. With no further business to come before the corporation, this meeting is adjourned. I now call the meeting of the Rad 6 Development Corporation to order. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from June 5th, 2024?
So moved.
Second.
Probably moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. So ordered. We have a request to approve the transfer of project-based rental assistance HAP contract.
Yes.
This was previously approved by the commission as part of resolution 24-59.
Right, and request for the Dev Corp to accept this recommendation. The materials have been provided. We'd like to transfer the PBRA HAP contract from Camp Hill Square to Washington Square property.
I would move that we approve resolution 24-005 sub-red 6.
I would second that.
Probably moving in second, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? So ordered. There are two items that were coming there. One was a motion to approve resolution 24-005 6, and the first one was one to transfer project-based assistance. So
Was there a second resolution?
No, there's only just one resolution.
oh, okay. With no further business to come before the corporation, this meeting is adjourned. I now call the meeting of the Scattered Site One Development Corporation to order. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from June 5th, 2024?
So moved.
Second.
Probably moved in second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. So ordered. With no further business to come before the corporation, this meeting is adjourned. I now call the meeting of the Scattered Site Two Development Corporation to order. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from June 5th, 2024?
So moved.
A second.
Probably moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. So ordered. With no further business to come before the corporation, this meeting is adjourned. I now call the meeting of the Sligo Hill Development Corporation to order. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from June 5th, 2024?
So moved.
Second.
Probably moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed,
Aye.
nay. So ordered. With no further business to come before the corporation, this meeting is adjourned. I now call the meeting of the TCM Development Corporation to order. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from June 5th, 2024?
So moved.
Second.
Probably moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed,
Aye.
nay. So ordered. With no further business to come before the corporation, this meeting is adjourned. I now call the meeting of the BPC One Corporation to order. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from June 5th, 2024?
So moved.
Second.
Probably moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
So ordered. With no further business to come before the corporation, this meeting is adjourned. I now call the meeting of the VPC True Corporation to order. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from June 5th, 2024?
So moved.
A second.
And probably moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. So ordered. With no further business to come before the corporation, this meeting is adjourned. I now call the meeting of the Wheaton Metro Development Corporation to order. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of June 5th, 2024?
So moved.
Second.
Probably moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. So ordered. We have no requests. We also have a request to select an architect and approve the related budgets.
With materials provided before you, we're requesting that you authorize me to enter into a contract with Zavos Architecture and Design for architectural services and the approval of a pre-development budget, as well as approval of pre-development funding for the re-syndication and renovation of Metro Point Apartments.
I would move that we approve resolution 24-01 sub WM.
I second that.
Probably moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed,
Aye.
nay. So ordered. With no further business to come before the corporation, this meeting is adjourned. This concludes the Development Corporation meeting. We will now reconvene HOC's regular monthly meeting. There are no other items that have been on the agenda for the regular meeting. And so therefore, pursuant to section 3-305B and C of the General Provisions Article of the Annotated Code of Maryland, I move to adopt the written closing statement dated July the 10th, 2024, and to adjourn this open session to a closed session to discuss two topics. The first topic is the confidential commercial and financial terms for the modification of loans at HOC-owned properties. The statutory section that allows this discussion to be closed is section 3-305B13. The second topic is the ongoing negotiation with the union. This topic must be discussed in closed session to protect the confidentiality of the parties. The statutory section that allows this discussion to be closed is section 3-305B9. If a member of the public that's watching this meeting in real time on YouTube wishes to object to the closed meeting, please comment in the YouTube chat box or contact HOC General Counsel. Instructions can be found in the Open Meetings Act objection procedure, which is posted on HOC's website. Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been probably moved in second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 The meeting is now adjourned. We'll move into a closed session.
Thank you.